Welcome to the Midlife Dating Without the Crisis podcast, helping both baby boomers and Gen Xers maintain their sanity and survive the online dating experience. If you're a single guy or gal who find themselves back on the dating market, getting that second chance to an even better relationship, we've got your back. And now, from the 50 Dates at 50 studios, helping to bring the fun back into dating.
Hey everybody, it's your host Paul Nelson here at the Midlife Dating Podcast, and we have a podcast first for us. We're doing our first interview. We'll be talking with Laurie Gerber, dating coach at Laurie Gerber Coaching, as our guest today. Now, before I introduce you to Laurie, I want to give you a quick rundown of some of the things you're going to learn on this episode. Now, I took Laurie's Are You Ready to Date Like You Mean It quiz, and I'm not sure if I broke the quiz or not, but I somehow scored 104 out of 100. And Laurie and I will discuss how that could possibly be. Laurie also puts my 7 deal breakers, deal makers under the microscope with some real-time feedback. And this will get interesting because I'm sure many of you have similar deal makers and deal breakers on your list, and we'll learn which specific one out of my 7 made Laurie hit the brakes. We also discuss a little bit about nice guy behavior and one of the more significant discoveries, for me at least, over the last few years, and that is attachment styles. And how, if I had awareness on these many years ago, I could have I would have definitely changed my approach to dating, as I learned the attachments types that I tend to attract are not very compatible with the type that I am. I also run the all-important filtering question past Laurie that I use on the dating apps, which gets me ghosted 50% of the time, and I get some great real-time feedback from Laurie. And one of the most fun things about the interview is Laurie and I have opposing approaches when it comes to the messaging process on the dating apps and what steps you take place after the messaging, which makes for a fun discussion. So here at the Midlife Dating Podcast, the luring never stops, and I don't want you to miss out on making your date nights more memorable. So now, 50 daters, let's start turning those dating busts into dating bests. So let's begin. Well, today on the Midlife Dating Podcast, I'm welcoming dating coach Laurie Gerber from lauriegerber.com. She also has a podcast called Love at Any Age, and she also has an online dating course for women over 50. Laurie, welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Thank you for having me, Paul. What your listeners don't know is I found you. I wanted to talk to you very badly. So that is maybe the most important thing in my bio. But other things in my bio include that I have been coaching people for over 20 years. And about 5 years ago, I decided I really wanted to focus in on the niche of dating over 50. Between you and me, I also coach men, but my marketing is targeted towards women. So men who can live through that, find a lot of value in the principles that I teach. But I am addressing the needs of people who are getting back into dating after a partner has died or after a divorce or after a breakup. Sometimes I work with people who've never been in a long-term committed relationship, but that's the most rare. And I help people through the 3 stages of dating, which is the readiness stage, where it's like, something's stopping me, I don't know what. I've determined that there's about 34 potential obstacles and everyone has some of them. So we figure that out so we can actually get ready and build that confidence and excitement. The next stage is the tactics and the actual logistics of getting out there, whether it's in real life or online, and all the to-dos of the shopping or hunting or whatever you want to call that. And then the third is the early dating phase, where if you don't engender honesty and you don't go deep and you don't have those real conversations, which I know is something is so important to you, then what's the point anyway, right? Then you're 7, 8, 9, 10 dates in and you don't really know the person. And then when the breakup happens, it hurts even more. So those are the 3 stages I'm helping people through. And I do it private coaching, I do digital, that's just what I'm kind of steeped in all day long. And that's what the podcast talks about. And it's my passion.
Yes, it's always good to pursue our passions in this stuff.
Indeed.
Yes. So when we initially talked, I went to your website and I looked over a lot of things, and I I took your 5-minute "Are you ready to date like you mean it" quiz,
Yay.
and I think I've got
The highest score of anybody who's ever taken the quiz.
yes,
All right,
yeah, I had a
listeners, your guru Paul is a good egg. He's
yeah,
done a lot of work.
scored 104 out of 100. I think because you
Mhm.
said you added a bonus question in there.
We did. We never thought
Mhm.
anyone would ever get over 100, but Paul did.
And I mean, when I looked at the test, there was a lot of self-reflection going on going through those because there were many questions that if I took a quiz 10 years ago, I wouldn't have I would have
Right.
been more insecure. There were a lot of things I would have knocked me down, and I definitely wouldn't have been ready to date 11 years ago, even though I was trying to, adding to the problem that was out there at that period of time. And so through 10 years of personal growth, I've reached the area where I feel comfortable that I've been dateable and ready to date for several years now. And one of the biggest problems that I run into, I live in Orange County, Los Angeles, Orange County area, and online. And so there's a variety. I do some organic dating and I will do speed dating. I play in a cover band, so I go out and I can socialize doing that, although there really isn't a lot of time to do that when I
When
perform.
you're performing, yeah.
Yeah, you perform, then you got to pack up gear afterwards. So there's
Then you
really
have to
not a
take
lot.
the undies that were thrown at you and just put them in your pocket
I
and
wish.
walk away.
Yeah, when I did this in the 80s, when I had long hair and a perm, that's what I was
Oh,
really looking for. But that
nice.
never.
You and me both. We both had a perm in the 80s. Nice. Twinsies.
Yeah, yes, I played in a hair metal band, and so
Nice.
I could apply mascara, and
Oh, I'm
yes,
picturing you now. Beautiful. Love that. Van Halen. Yep. Got it.
yes, the Motley Crue type thing, and
Motley
the
Crue.
Poison. Yeah,
Perfect.
so we
Or
were more
Twisted
along.
Sister. What about Twisted Sister?
I
Didn't they have perms?
they did, but their makeup was more Kiss-like, if you will,
Right.
and that's
Sure.
it was more subdued. We did so. I had a girlfriend at the time that showed me how to use the eyelash curler and apply everything. I have pictures too, which are a good thing to look back at and laugh, but I don't have the hair anymore for that. But I never I could go on to some stories about that because I was a really shy guy back then, and so nothing ever really panned out then, and life has morphed into a different way. But the bottom line is that there's a variety of different ways that I will go out and meet singles, and um, one of the biggest issues I run into is dating in Orange County or some of the metro areas. I know this people are going to run into the same problems that I run into if they were like dating in Washington D.C. or Miami or New York or some of these other larger metropolitan areas. And what I run into is I have an idea of what I'm looking for, and we'll get into the deal breakers and deal makers based upon that. But some of the things that I run into, and I've been running into years, and I've got a devised a pretty good system of weeding out the pretenders, I call them. And a lot of the pretenders would be there's a lot of men and women on the dating apps. So I'm going to focus on dating apps right now that are there for entertainment. And I never really realized this initially. It took me a while to figure that out. And then there's another group, a sidebar of that are on there for personal validation. They like to get their matches up as long as they're getting matches. I can understand, the gals in their 20s and 30s wanting to be this way, but women in their 50s and 60s, I say it isn't so, but this is one of the things that I regularly run across. And
Yes.
still hookups. It still is alive and well today and for
It
men and
is.
women,
People still
singles.
like sex, Paul, it turns out. It's like one of those ageless, timeless things. Weird.
And and then for a lot of other people, dating is a hobby and they're not
Mhm.
really serious about it. And so I figured out how to weed a lot of them out. And so we're going to focus on basically the fifth group that I'm looking for, those looking for a relationship, a
Right.
meaningful relationship, a long term, or a short term that moves into a long term is what I've been seeking myself. And I've found some of that in the past in some of my dating relationships. And I've been able to troubleshoot and figure out why they didn't work out. One of the biggest eye openers that for me has just been learning about attachment styles. I seem to
Okay.
attract the avoidant style. I'm a secure style, and I attract the avoidant ones, and it's just not a good match. And so I've adjusted my deal breakers and deal breakers basically based upon that. So in some of the clients that you coach that are utilizing online dating, are they running into some of the same things that I am, or can you elaborate on some of the things that you've seen?
And I just ask, do you know why you pick that type?
Uh, I
Sorry,
have
can't help it. I'm a coach.
no,
But I'll
that's
answer
no,
your question. I
and that's
promise I'll answer your question.
no, that's a good question. I've been troubleshooting that because I just recently learned, I would say in the last 18 months to 2 years about attachment styles. And
Mhm.
I have in my younger days, I used to be what they would call the nice guy, if you will. And I mean, nice guy is not nice guy as in verb. We all want to be nice guys and act nice and behave nicely, but nice guy as a noun, it describes a, a man that wants to just do nice things like fix a gal's car or these things and hopefully by doing nice things like that, she'll date me. So I probably still have some remnants of that, although I've grown through a lot of those. And I think there are times where I may pick out some of the gals that need help, if you will, and go after that. And so there's obviously things that I'm doing that are attracting that. Most of them are the avoidant and with some of the anxious type mixed in there. But
The
I'm
reason,
go ahead.
sorry, the reason I'm asking is because a lot of those first obstacles we deal with in coaching are about where that attachment style came from, right? Like
Hmm.
what you observed in your parents, what you observed about love, what the haunting experiences of your past taught you or ingrained in you. A little bit your personality and sort of like the lineage issues that come through what a Paul is versus what a Laurie is versus whatever. So there's not a million different inputs as to why we have the quote unquote type we have. It's usually we do a couple of exercises to kind of just figure out like what is that? And then the illumination of why
Hmm.
then helps you go, okay, I see that very clearly. That's from my past. That's from my lineage. That's from my parents or a reaction to my parents. I'm now going to shift gears very consciously and be a different way, which I do think is the conclusion you came to. But when I ask, you don't have like a quick answer, which is interesting to me, right? Because I actually want you to have a quick answer of, oh, well, I observed this. Made that up. I was winning this way. I'd rather be the nice guy than I saw my dad be a jerk. There is an answer as to how you came up with that strategy that doesn't attract securely attached women.
Hmm.
Because what attracts a securely attached woman is a masculine man who knows what he wants and is provides a lot of safety and protection and clarity. And so the quote unquote weakness a woman might feel when you're a quote unquote nice guy does not attract a secure. I mean, you've sort of solved the riddle, but I think it would be helpful to go back and look at and be able to articulate clearly for yourself and for others where that comes from.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. And I was going to say, I've actually went through hypnosis to try and troubleshoot some of
Oh,
these things, just to take a closer look.
hypnosis. Well
Yes.
done.
Oh, some of this is traced back to my hockey coaching in grade school, where I wanted to please my coaches because hockey was so important to me that I would have done anything.
Right.
So we're actually able to trace parts of it back to that. So, uh, conversation for another
Okay.
day.
Usually
Um,
it's further back than that. Usually it's further back than that. But good start. To answer your
ev-
question, you sound very familiar. You sound like the very common man, common woman, common person who is tackling dating in this era at this age, in this
Mhm.
general age group. The first thing you said that reminded me so much of the common complaint is that everybody blames their geography. It's really kind of mind modeling how ubiquitous this excuse is that the thing about people in my area or lack of people in my area is, and to me, that is just so beautifully human and
Mhm.
represents how riddled our mindset is with BS, it's sort of like off roads. And that's the first point I make with my clients is like you are entertaining all sorts of nonsense in your own mind and you don't even know it. It sounds smart, it sounds good, it sounds statist, and you, my friend, right, are such a learner, such a good doobie, such a good student, such an A plus. It's worse for people like us, honestly, because we believe our theories. We believe our good data and our research because we're smart and we did the work, right?
Mhm.
So, and I
Mhm.
assume your listeners are similar. So, I'm just going to say, nerds, danger, danger for you smart advances because you really believe you know what's going wrong and you almost never really do. And neither did I, by the way, right? I'm not saying I know better, but the real reasons you're not getting what you want are very purposely obscured to you by your own mental shenanigans. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's more like, and then I get people to talk, right? Or write to me. Actually, I've already had you write to me. I had to do a quiz. I had you answer some questions to start to uncover what is going on up there. Like what's the stuff that's going on up there that you're not saying? Because you're at least admitting you think geography has something to do with it. You think it's hard to find somebody who's, as into personal growth as you are. But there's other stuff too that's even more dangerous to the possibility of you finding love that isn't obvious or isn't coming out of your mouth. And I can detect it a little bit in how high your standard is and how just mildly hopeless you are that anybody could be I'm just going to put this bluntly, as deep as you. But good news, everybody I talk to feels the same way. The men and the women. Like that, this is the good news. You are not alone. You are not alone. And in fact, in my coaching course, we do a group call every month with the women. And last month, I met up with a coach who coaches men, and we brought the men and the women together. And it was so beautiful and profound because each one really thought the other group did not exist. A group of people doing introspection, doing stuff, admitting what's wrong, admitting their faults and their weaknesses, honestly searching for long-term committed partnership, companionship, and you could just see everyone, and they're still on a high from it, like, oh, there's other unicorns out there. So in my world, they're everywhere. So it is not a matter at all of a scarcity or geography, which I'm sure but that would be the first response I would give to the people who are saying the kinds of things you're saying. And kudos
Mhm.
if you've done a lot of your work, but if you're not getting the result, there's still one of those 34 obstacles that we haven't attended to, right? So
Mhm.
that's
Yep.
that's my very clear math. Back to you. Back to you,
Okay.
Paul.
All right. And I just wanted to follow up that I don't place myself in the nice guy category anymore. I'm in the good guy category. But
Upgrade.
yeah.
Good upgrade. Yeah.
So yeah, I I I I worked hard 10 years ago. Just an FYI, I worked really hard to come out of my very introverted self in that I was very shy introverted and not in the introverted where we need to, well, I still need downtime to recover introverted, but I was very shy. And so I worked really hard to get out of that and through workshops and whatnot. So I've been tackling a lot of these and I feel at least that I've moved into the good guy category.
And I just
And
underline something you've said that I think is so important. I just want to
sure.
underline the fact that you did the work, i.e., you practiced showing up in a way you were not already showing up because you knew it was more consistent with your ideal.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to teach people to think, plan, and act consistent with their highest ideal. So if their highest ideal is, I want to be present in this conversation, I want to show up, I want to be myself with everyone and anyone, then you have to think different thoughts, right? Like F off hockey, coach, and you have to do different things, and you put in the hours and did that and changed who you show up to be. That is so inspirational and hopeful for anyone who's listening.
It's all in the effort. If you put in the effort, you'll get results eventually. So let's just take a look here at the fundamental foundation of my must-haves or deal breakers and deal makers list, and I'd like to get your feedback on that.
Right.
And basically, there's a 7 each, but they're just basically an inverse of each other is all they
Right.
are. And so let's just take the first one. One of my must-haves when I'm out dating and meeting people is I'm looking for a gal that has a positive outlook. They need to have a great sense of humor, be kind, and because I'm very allergic to negative. And so that's one of the first things that I look for. I'm not looking, I cannot date a Debbie Downer. And that's one of the biggest turnoffs. And I can generally tell that on a phone call. I can weed a lot of these things out in a phone call. One of the other things that's important to me is the gal that I'm considering dating and want to have a potential relationship with has to have outside interests. For instance, the relationship cannot be her focus. She has to have some other passions, whether it be writing or maybe it's skiing or working out for that matter, or jogging or cross country or marathons. It could be a variety of things. Theater. She has to have something that she focuses on, because I run into a lot of gals out there in the 50s and 60s that the relationship is what they focus on. And I've been down that road. I don't want to go down that road again. Relationship is one part of complementing each other. Yeah.
Beautiful. Seems reasonable.
Yep. And then we have financially stable. Not financially independent, just financially stable. It just means they can take care of themselves and have respectfully just managed their lives financially. That's all. And then one of the other things is they need to be passionate about having a intimate sexual relationship. I'm not into dating just to meet somebody and go out to dinner, and a positive intimate sexual relationship is very important to an overall relationship.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
the
know.
difference between a friendship and a romantic relationship. It is the difference.
Yes.
Very
And in the baby boomer and Gen X age group, age can make changes on that for some people. This I
Yes.
understand.
Yes.
So that gets harder to kind of sort through. So some of the potential dating material out there. Good communications are very important to me. And I work hard at communicating things I'm thinking about. If I'm talking with a woman and I don't understand the hints that she's giving me, I will ask for clarification. But I find it, a lot of the gals I end up meeting would rather drop hints and not directly address some of the communication issues. Then they also would need to respect themselves. This is another thing. And be physically active. They just need to be able to show that they've been taking care of themselves and not let themselves go. They don't need to be a gym rat. They just need to go out and exercise and take care of themselves. That's what I do. I'm in good shape. I go out for walks and I hike, and I'll work out with
You're
weight.
asking for what you are, correct?
Yes.
You are asking for someone who is up to similar things that you're up to.
Yes. Yeah. They don't need to exceed that. Just basically where I'm at.
Yeah. Give or take a point. Give or take a point. Yeah. Beautiful. And finally.
Yeah. And finally, embrace personal growth. So this is one of the things that I've been on the biggest kick on learning. I I took a workshop a while back where they demonstrated what personal growth looked like, where we actually had to go out on Hollywood Boulevard and get signatures as an exercise. And
Right.
it was one of the most humiliating experiences of my life because I couldn't get any signatures. Story for another day. But
Now dating online seems easy.
yes, it does. And the whole thing was they set us up to fail in the
Mm,
exercise, and then explain that, first it was understanding you need to make a change. Then you go out and you start making the changes, and you're going to be, uh, you could get angry and upset with yourself as you go through the changes, but you need to recognize that that is part of the change. And then when you finally make the change that you want to do, you look back at the previous step and you laugh about it because, anyway, I'm looking, I find a lot of people, men and women, that they don't want to embrace change. They're afraid to fall, if you will, during the process of learning and making adjustments. They want to rest on their laurels. They don't want to move forward with learning new things. So that's, I need to find somebody that embraces those same types of values of
beautiful.
wanting to learn new things. Yes.
Okay, again,
And
good news. All the women I talk to, they fit this description. So not all, but a very vast majority. But go
where
ahead.
are
What else?
they?
That's a great question. I intend to answer that question and a bunch of others. But what was the question you were going to ask? Were you going to ask me a question
Well,
to give you
and I'll just,
feedback on this? Okay,
uh,
go.
yes, I could go through the deal breakers, but they're just basically the inverse of, yeah,
They are the inverse. I've read
yeah.
them. I don't think it's necessary because
Yeah,
it's
so,
literally the same.
I am dying to hear about your feedback on this.
Oh, dying. Okay, good, good. Don't die. Don't be dead, dude. Okay. So, the this is a great list, right? To me, this is a very good set of bones on a what I call a 3H chart: your head, your heart, and your hoo-ha criteria. Right? The
Mhm,
head criteria is she takes good care of herself financially and physically. Right? You just want a partner in that, right? You don't want someone who's relying on you or who you're relying on. You want two equal partners. The heart wants good communication and a growth mindset, right? Makes perfect
mhm.
sense. That's going to meet you where you are in terms of feeling secure and connected, which is what you're looking for. And then the hoo-ha wants some regular action, of course, right? Like this is all completely, completely reasonable. It's not a dime a dozen. You are weeding out, right? It's like if you go to Macy's, I don't know if you even have Macy's where you live, but like there's different brands, like you get this, you're not gonna go to every store in Macy's, right? You're gonna pick
Mm,
this. It's not, I'm not saying everyone fits this criteria. I'm just saying this is a decent, open-minded criteria, and I appreciate it because usually when I see people's lists, there's a whole bunch of junk in it. There's a bunch of things they don't really care about, but they think will signify something,
mhm,
or there's a bunch of unrealistic expectations that you're not prepared to provide that very same thing in return. Or it's just kind of like loyal, like to me, something that is a given, so people really mess these lists up. So I appreciate that you've boiled it down to some real essentials. And one thing I really ask people is, why do you care about those things? And I think that would be a worthy question to ask yourself too, so that, because the way you speak about it, it sounds like she has to be blah blah. She needs to blah blah. Versus, I really want to share fitness with somebody. I really think a relationship's more stable when the finances are relatively compatible. So one's not carrying the other. I really value good communication, and I want to be met and challenged in that area. You see how every way I'm saying it is positive and the why is in it versus just a
mhm.
checklist. And by the way, women are so much worse at this than men. Women are just like, checklist, he's got to be this tall, he's got to be this. Like, we're disgusting. So everyone makes this mistake. So I'm acknowledging that you've essentialized, and I am advising you to drill down even deeper as to why you care, because everyone, for example, many people put finances and fitness on their list, but they don't drill down to why. And the why is actually different for every person. One person wants to work out together. One person just wants to make sure you're not going to die. One person, it's about how you look. One person, like, one person, it's about stamina in bed. Like everybody's different as to their why. Same thing
Mhm.
with financial stability, right? A lot of women don't want their finances upset because they want to leave the rest of their money to their kids at this age. So, but that why is really important when you're dating, or else you sound kind of like a jerk. And
Mhm.
the one feedback I would give you is that I'm allergic to negative is weirdly negative of you to say.
Oh, elaborate, please.
It's literally a negative statement. I'm allergic to negative is literally a negative statement. You could have left it at positive outlook, great sense of humor, be kind. Right? That's
Okay.
what you're looking for. But you snuck in a negative into your desire. And by the way, everyone does that. You are not
Mhm.
alone. We can barely think about what we want without thinking about what we don't want. But that is a mental exercise that makes you a way more powerful manifester.
Mhm.
And you have that. You have a negative, judgy voice in your head. I don't care how much work you've done. So do I. So do you. Like I don't care. But you have that voice, and he sneaks out. And he sneaks out, and he diminishes your clarity and your fortitude and your precision as to what you're going for when he sneaks out. So
Mhm.
you do have to check your must-haves for sneaky sneaky negative, sneaky baggage. And that's the other problem is you've been trying hard for a long time. So you've got a list of failures, right? Signatures uncollected, right? That you now have a relationship to. And this is true of so many daters 50 and above. We have this history, we have this past, we have this relationship to our quote unquote failures that's not powerful. That's not like,
Mhm.
oh my God, this all makes sense. I get it. Now I'm ready. And there's a click. And that's what happened for me. There was a click. It was like, oh, I see what I've been doing. It's this, this, and this. It's crystal clear. It's been me all along. I am going to flip that. I'm going to do it differently this time. And then magic happens. Like there is a magic aspect to like, where are they? Well, they're everywhere, but we cannot see them if we are in our own way.
Understood. Okay. Okay. I I hadn't thought about that. What you said there. So that's an interesting point that you made there. Um,
Thanks. Do you want to think about it out loud?
well, I'm gonna have to
You can
reflect
get
on it
back to
more.
me
I
later.
guess
Yeah.
I guess the main thing is when I was married, my spouse was extremely negative. So I understand that my list is
Yeah,
a
baggage.
reference to my past, if you
Yeah.
will. And I don't want to go through negative. I mean, there are always aspects of life and things that we deal with that there's going to have some level of negativity to it. But I don't want to drown in it and have it thrust upon me
Oh,
every day. Yeah.
to be clear, I'm not
Mhm.
arguing with that criteria at all. I want that for you. Wait, most men, that's top of their list. They
Mhm.
want a positive environment and they want kindness. That is top of the list for most men. You are normal. That is healthy. Please, I am not saying don't want that. I'm saying believe it exists, right? Because you're a little on a high horse and a little judgy about how awful people are because your ex-wife sounds like she was. And that's not fair to put on other women, right?
Mhm.
It obscures the women who aren't that if you think that women are that. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like
Absolutely.
really, I thought all handsome men were blonde hair and blue eyed, which just obscured a whole, you know, group of men. It turns out I fell in love with a brown hair, brown eyed. Like, God forbid you keep thinking the past determines the future, or that you
Mhm.
know everything about how people are. That would be such a bummer. I mean, it will kill you, and we all know we prefer being right than having
Mhm.
love. So human beings love to be right. And we love to talk to our friends about how terrible dating sites are and how terrible the other gender is and how terrible dating, like all of it. We love misery poker, but it robs us of our clarity, our confidence, and our fortitude in what is a marathon. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Mhm. Mhm. So, well, let me drill down a little bit more here and get your opinion on. So, I- there are two basic schools of thought that I've run into in dating and meeting gals, and same with my male brethren, where there are two categories. You got one group that's basically looking for a clone of themselves to date, and then you're looking for the other that's
Don't do
looking as a
that.
complement. And
Right.
I feel that I've opened up my must-haves, deal breakers to uh, very open to a complementary person that
Awesome.
complements the relationship and not a clone. The last gal that I dated, it was about a year. We dated for about a year. She was looking for a clone, is what it came down to, and
Yeah.
I couldn't change to that. I wasn't going to
Yeah.
either. It's not what I
Yeah.
am. But
Yeah.
so do you find what do you find most of the time? Do you find a lot of people are looking for clones of themselves, or are they open to being having a complementary relationship?
Right,
Like
right. I
salt
mean, I think
complements
there
pepper.
I think that's a binary question, and I'm gonna expand upon it because
Mhm.
I'm gonna get at what's behind that question. So I think people are wrong about what they think they want. Right. I mean, I just think people get it wrong.
Mhm.
It's often a woman will describe someone and I'll go, this seems like an ad for your best friend who's a woman, not an ad for a man. Right.
Mhm.
So I just I think actually women are more prone to that mistake than men are, to imagine that they want someone like themselves to be their partners. But so the point is well taken. But what I'm really interested in is, how do you find out quickly? Because part of why you have not succeeded at your mission is because you have spent time with not the one, right? It's not like you were sitting around twiddling your thumbs, right? Or
Mhm. Right.
just on the internet, right? You have dated people who you found out were not what I call a 3H match, not a head heart hoo ha match, or for
Mhm.
whom you were not a 3H match for them. Right? Like if you were still trying to change yourself after a year to fit their heart criteria, well, no, like, that's not a match. So I'm interested in getting you and everybody much more quickly through that vetting, right? That that asking of questions and answering questions and being together in a way that has you really know very quickly whether someone fits your criteria or not, and whether you fit their criteria or not.
Mhm. I I would say, well, when it comes to the vetting process I use, it's been refined and honed over a long period of time, or over several years. I The first stage of vetting for me is actually looking at a dating profile for looking at online dating, for instance.
Sure, of course.
I can tell a lot about the pictures, whether they actually write something in their profile. It used to be easier to vet uh, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, with more of the legacy websites where they had more involved dating profiles like Match or eHarmony. And a lot of that's
Sure.
changed now to
Don't get me
the date.
started.
Yeah, the
I'm
dating
going
apps where
nuts.
you have 300 characters.
Right.
And so it was easier to vet then, but just by looking as an example, there are some of the apps, I'll pick on Hinge for just a moment. They have the Hinge standouts, for instance. And these are gals and guys that, for lack of a better term, would be winners of life's lottery in the looks department. And they've had it easy for many years because they're absolutely stunningly gorgeous. And so they've never really had to work hard at that. And then if you look at their profiles, the pictures are stunning, but they don't really write anything in the profiles. And to me, that's a left swipe immediately. I don't want to be the one doing all the work in a relationship, and I know that's where that leads. I've been experienced enough to actually date some of the gals that would be in the Hinge standouts, if you will. And I've learned that's not part of my life journey is learning that's not where I want to be. So
So
I
nicely
don't.
put.
Yeah, I
Too
don't.
hot, too cold, just right. Okay.
Yes, so the top
Yes.
10%, if they're in, I could go on experience after experience, and they're going to fit into a generalized stereotype. So I don't even go near that. What I look for is more of what I would call the Goldilocks zone, if you will, and
That's my
this is
illusion. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So this would be the 89% down to 70. These are a lot of the people that actually You can see that they put work into their profiles. They've actually written stuff out, and you can get a better idea of who they are. These are some of the things that I use just on looking on some of the profiles where I think that there's a potential match there. I utilize that, and then I will quickly message back and forth. I can, and I don't spend a lot of time messaging. I learned that lesson a long time ago, where a lot of people will message back and forth for days and
Yeah.
days and
That's
days.
how you become the therapist, the attention giver, or the entertainer. That's how
Yes.
you weed those people out. Is
Mhm.
you do not. My rule is you don't text for more than 2 weeks. 1 to 2 weeks is the sweet spot, enough to get deal breaker questions out of the way, and to see if you have a good banter, and to see if they care. Right. That's 1 to 2 weeks.
I'm probably even more ruthless than that.
I believe you're ruthless. You sound ruthless.
When for me, it's by the time I'm at the third message exchange, I send the message that gets me ghosted 50% of the time, and that
Which
is,
is what?
are you comfortable with moving our conversation to a phone call?
Okay. Can I
And
coach you? Can I just
sure,
coach you? I mean, okay,
yes.
because I got to tell you the woman's perspective.
And
We wait.
that's not, yeah, that's part of a trailing message where we've maybe talked about hiking, and there's a quick conversation on hiking going on, and then I'll say, yeah, well, I could tell you more about the Morro Ridge hike in Laguna Beach over a phone call. So are you comfortable with moving
Yes.
our conversation to
No,
a call?
no woman in her right mind will move to a call after 3 exchanges and give her phone number to a man. No, not a woman who's savvy. No. So I don't recommend you doing it that way anymore. I will give you another idea that I think will
Okay.
work equally well for getting rid of women who aren't serious, and also attracting women who are serious but more self-protective.
Okay.
I am telling you, I coach men all day long. You have no idea what it is like to be a woman. And we have no idea what it's like to be a man. Right? Like, uh, that's cool. I'm fine that you don't know what it's like to be a woman, but it is not safe to be a woman. It is not safe to give out your
Mhm.
phone number. It is not. I don't let my girls give out phone numbers. I have them create a Google. You want to
Yeah,
defend
there's the
yourself? I
Google
can see
line.
your face.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So what?
Okay.
Just a quick. What I'll do is, so some of the apps actually have the call
In app.
portion, and
Hmm.
that's what I
Right.
recommend going to. Is that
Perfect. Okay.
so?
So
Not anyway.
you
Continue.
you may be reading profiles, they are probably not reading profiles. Okay.
Hmm.
So I do recommend 1 to 2 weeks of banter over text where you ask. So you create a 3H list, head, heart, and hoo ha. If you follow my program, you will come up with questions that go with each of the criteria. Sometimes there'll be straightforward questions like, do I like how they look? Or do you have kids? Or where do you spend your time? Or who'd you vote for last election? And sometimes they're more vague and sneaky questions like, how's online dating for you? Or what's one of the greatest lessons of your life? Or how would your friend describe you in 3 adjectives? Or what's your proudest accomplishment? Or, a question that is more likely to get a values based answer out of someone without directly going, what are your values? Or these are the values I have. What about you? So you are using that first 1 to 2 weeks of texting. And by the way, you're only texting each other if you think the pictures are cute. Let's be honest. That's the only reason you're texting each other.
Hmm.
Great. That's a good baseline. Hoo ha, 6 or above on a scale of 1 to 10. What I need you to accomplish is that the head is happy with the basic concept. In that text exchange, you can ask about your deal breakers. How do you spend your time? What do you like to do for exercise? Um, what's been your greatest self discovery? What if politics or religion are important to you? You'd bring that up. What's your worst bad habit? Got any kids? Where are they? Who do you live with? Do you have dogs? Right? Like you banter about the things that are your head deal breakers. If you have one, you can't do finances. You can't do that yet, not in a text, but it's
Hmm.
waiting. But a lot of your head criteria you can cover in that text banter exchange. So in that 1 to 2 weeks, you are developing a rapport. You are getting to know each other's personality. You are getting head deal breaker questions answered so that if a deal breaker becomes apparent, you can thank you. It was lovely meeting you. I don't think it's a romantic match. Best of luck. And you're building her trust. If she ghosts you during that 1 to 2 weeks, there's only 2 reasons, 3 reasons. There could be a glitch in the app. We know that happens. Number two, she's not that attracted to you. Fine, goodbye. We don't want you anyway. Or she found someone else that she got serious with. We also don't want you anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to counterpoint there for a second. You actually hit upon some of the things I was going to talk about there. And yeah, I was going to say, and I'll make the attempt here to defend my position on the, and it's good to get your, I really like your
I
feedback
want you to
on
get
this.
the results, Paul. I want you to get the results. That's where I'm coming from.
See, what I've learned is when it comes, if I was dating on a legacy website, more of what you're saying, I would apply more of that. But when it comes to the dating apps, the stuff moves so fast that
Then don't date on the apps. Date on the legacy sites.
Exactly. But
you're slow.
I would say
it's okay.
I would say it needs to be one facet of meeting singles. It would be the dating apps, for instance. So if I'm on an online dating app, a lot of times, if I've discovered over time that if I don't get to the phone call quickly, then the messaging trails off very quickly. And
into you. That's okay. That you're on the wrong dating site for you. Why are you torturing yourself? Like, why are you doing that to yourself? You obviously have tried a lot of different things, and some things work better than others. Because the people who are on the apps want to go fast, and they want entertainment.
Hence, that's why I go to after the third conversation when I'm working with a dating app in this situation, like Bumble or Hinge or whatnot. I have to go faster because I'm competing with the next 50 swipes.
Then don't get upset when they ghost.
Oh, I don't. I just know that that's part of the game. That's the way it works. And so to effectively utilize online dating apps on a phone as a tool, that's what I've adopted as my way to go about doing that. And I can create all the dates I want. Getting dates is not a problem per se. It's just getting quality ones. And
so you're not vetting well enough. You're not vetting well enough. And I can also tell that your attitude isn't like, oh yay, I got rid of the riffraff. Your attitude is like, what's wrong with people that they're so fast? And the answer is those are the people who don't want what you want. And so we have to, there's millions of singles out there. We have to get rid of most of them.
Yes, they're eliminating themselves, which is what part of that does. That's why I like that's why I ask within 3, because I know the pretenders will eliminate themselves.
And you're also eliminating, and by the way, stop calling them pretenders because that's mean and judgmental. Stop, really. I'm just telling you, it's not nice. And women they still want a good guy who isn't a judgy jerk, right? Like, so I would stop calling them pretenders. You said it yourself. There's people who are there for entertainment. There's people who are for validation. I'm going to give a category. There's people there for therapy, men and women. And there's people looking for serious relationship. Your job, be the Mandalorian or whatever sci-fi hero you liked, right? Your job is to find your store in Macy's that you like to shop. Stop shopping where you don't belong. And don't take it personally, right? Like, it's not personal. It's not. Okay.
I'm not. I'm just, there are many facets to meeting singles in our age group.
Right.
Online dating is one of those. And so when I utilize that tool, that's the slow system I've developed.
You seem awfully attached to your system that is not working.
Well, it took a while to put it together. Oh, well, it works to get dates. I can get dates all day long.
Okay, well, I want you to get high quality dates. So I have a suggestion. That you stay in the environments where it's more likely that you're going to find your people, which is real life, self-help programs, the legacy dating sites, and out in the world at your friends' events, right? Like that is where a man like you, who is much more of a long form thinker, slow build, get to know each other. You are not, you having to go fast is like me having to go slow. Honestly, it's
Mhm.
like, why would you do that to us? It's so mean. Like, it's just not. So I would recommend you focus on the ones that are catered to you so you stop having the drag, right?
Mhm.
And I would recommend you banter for 1 to 2 weeks and see if you can rule people out with the banter and the deal breakers, not by the, because the problem is, yes, you're ruling out the pretenders, the riffraff, but you're
Mhm.
also ruling out women who just don't feel comfortable yet and don't feel safe enough yet because they don't know you well enough. So I don't want to rule those ladies out yet for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, I fully admit there's going to be some collateral damage, and
Okay. Okay.
I'll be
But
ruling some of those
obviously
out.
you tested it and you think that it's right. I would also not go to the phone call. I would go right to a video chat. And this is what I tell all my clients. And you can do a video chat in app or you can do it on a Google Meet with made up Gmail addresses so nobody has to reveal their identity. Although I think men should reveal their identity, but that's just me.
I've done the video chat, and I'm more open to that. I can easily do that. That's not a problem.
Oh good. That one
I
you're okay with.
find I would say 1 out of every 15 gals that I have started a conversation with is interested in a video chat.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's a great vet. It's a great
Mhm.
vet. It's a great vet. But I
I
think you a video chat helps your cause because you're good looking. A video chat doesn't help everybody's cause. So
it well it took me a while. I think, well, one of the things on the video chat is men have a tough time with it. And it's hard for me. I've talked to coworkers that are single when I was working full time as an engineer, and video chat is just not good
it's
for
hard.
some of these. Yeah, it's very
I
hard, and
know.
so
I know.
it's a learned skill. And a lot of men, I know a lot of men, speaking from a men's perspective, are not willing to go out there and upgrade or work on their video chat skills.
It's
So
such a
that
bummer. It's
yeah.
so powerful. So
Mhm.
I mean, it's such a shortcut. And I know it's hard. I'm not saying it doesn't take working out, but it's I mean, working out that skill, but it's such a hack because first of all, the work you do to be good on camera, meaning your hair, your clothing, your background, your noise level, your technology, your confidence, you're figuring out what you're going to say, figuring out what you're going to, all of that preparation makes you a better dater and a better person. It just does.
Yeah,
So,
imagine those skills in a relationship.
right? Right? And a man who is willing to do a video chat. I mean, women are complaining all the time. They just want to meet in person because they just want to get laid or they just
Mhm.
want to see, they just want to rush me. Right. If you go, let's do a video chat and check our chemistry. Now they know you're serious. They know your life is put together. They know you're not trying to waste your time or her time. It's the obvious hack to me. The only person who says no to a video chat is someone who is lying on their profile, who isn't looking for something serious, or who's not that into you. Period. So it's a great way to get rid of the riffraff. After 1 to 2 weeks of banter, I'd love to hop on a 10-minute video chat to check our chemistry. And how they react will tell you everything you need to know.
Okay, Laurie, I sense a challenge here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm I'm going to follow through here on your advice, and I will report back to you
Ooh,
on what
this will be
how this
so
works. And
fun.
I'm going to move things to the video chat,
Okay.
and I will I
But
will throttle back on the.
if you've only had 3 interactions, it's not gonna work, right? Because why would a woman have a video chat with you after only 3 sentences back
Well,
and forth?
that's so on the inverse of that, the ones that I do get to the phone call very quickly, a lot of them tell me, a good portion, I'm like, "I'm so glad that you wanted to get to the phone call. A lot of
Right.
these guys just wanna text all day." And
True.
so,
Right.
yeah, so,
You've just distinguished yourself as a serious looker. That's you've
mhm,
just distinguished yourself to the woman who is not in those other categories we were talking about. So
mhm.
it's a great hack. It's a great hack. Um, can I ask you? I have two questions to ask you, but I
Sure.
you could ask me a question if you want. If you had something you wanted to say, I could listen.
Well, I have an idea I know what my assignment is here. I got a pretty
Okay,
good
great.
idea.
I also want to make sure your profile is dog whistling properly.
Okay.
You understand? So I teach there's three purposes to a profile. Number one, it's an ad for you to show your best self. Duh,
Hmm.
right? Hopefully everybody knows that. It's marketing. Okay. Number two, it's to say what you are looking for. So if you don't say looking for a serious long-term commitment or some form of that word, you're not. I know you can click on it. It's not the same thing as also writing it in your profile. Most people
Hmm.
aren't reading the profiles, but it's nice to add it one more time to just weed out people who are looking for more casual. And then the third thing is it's to scare off the people who are not a match. And I fear you might not be doing enough of that in the profile. So, and I have a whole
Okay.
exercise I take people through to determine what they're looking for, what they are providing, what your head, heart, and hoo ha are offering to the other person, what your liabilities are, what
Hmm.
doesn't work so great about you. Everyone has seven, and what acceptable liabilities you will take in another, right? Like, what are you okay with? My husband was okay with me being arrogant and wanting my own bed. He was okay with that. So, we all have our liabilities. So, the exercise then has you determine what are the 10 things you must say in your profile. You can't say all your liabilities in your profile. That wouldn't be appropriate. But some of your liabilities you can say in your profile because it will dog whistle the kind of person you want and scare the person you don't want. Um, you absolutely have to say what you're looking for, and you absolutely have to say you're distinguishing great assets. You probably have already done it, but now I'm very curious to read your profile. And if we should ever do this again, I would want to read your profile and give you feedback on it to make sure that you're doing as because you can get a date. You already said that you can get a date. So obviously something in the profile is good and working. But if it's not getting the right quality human, something's off in the message, right?
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So we can arrange that we can take a look at
Okay.
that. Not a
Anytime. Great.
problem.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
well, anyway, so our hour is just about up here. So
Oh my goodness. It went so
I
fast.
yes, and there are so many other things I want to talk about, just basically
Right?
on some of the things that you went over. And so I I appreciate everything that you've said today and all the feedback because getting this information is very important to listeners of the podcast, and so that we can find what we're looking for in our later years.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
important.
It's
So
the most important, I think. The most important thing. What's more important than love? Come on.
so Laurie, I'll close it out here, but do you want to just quickly tell us a little bit about your podcast and a little bit more about yourself and
Thank you.
what the listeners can learn from Laurie here?
Thank you
What you
so
offer.
much. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. So, again, I will say the podcast, which is called Love at Any Age and is available where all podcasts are consumed. But I love when you watch me on YouTube. That's my especially favorite place. Laurie Gerber, coach, and Love at Any Age. You just put it into the YouTube search and subscribe. It is, you're going to hear me talking to 50 plus women, but it is so universal, Paul. Like, I literally just did how to talk about your sticky topics in early dating and the
Mhm.
8 steps of a difficult conversation and how to figure out your liabilities and how to talk about them. That is good for every human in every human relationship. So it is really applicable across it all. And the way I'm laying things out, it's very bingeable. It's very curricular. It's very like I'm taking you through all the steps. How do you figure out your 3H criteria? How do you ask the right questions? How do you show up on a date? How do you flirt? I mean, every topic that women and men have been bringing to me for the last 20 years, I'm covering it in Love at Any Age. And then I do have a free webinar. If you like a vision, if you're the kind of person, if you're nerdy like Paul and me, and you want to see pictures and slides and that are going to tell you how to do this step by step by step, then you'll want to do lauriegerber.com/webinar and watch me teach it like a teacher with slides and everything like that, or do both. They're all fabulous, and it'll be obvious on my website how to reach me, lauriegerber.com. And I love to help.
Awesome. Okay. So this has been a great, fun, enlightening conversation. And I look forward to doing this some more. So, Laurie, thanks for
Next
being
time.
a guest today, and
Later.
we'll talk soon. Thanks. All right. Bye. All right. It was certainly a lot of fun talking with Laurie today. Let's just take a few moments here and review some of the things that we learned. Now, first off, even if you think you've done the homework and are ready to date, you've still probably got a few blind spots that need to be shored up. I know I do. And additionally, even if we think our deal makers and deal breakers are on the positive side, there can still be bits of negativity that sneak into them and that need some fine tuning. Our deal makers and our deal breakers are also products of our past experiences, and it's worth taking your time to take a closer look within and better understand how they came to be that way and recognize how we can address them from a personal growth perspective and adjust accordingly. We also learned that Laurie and I definitely have two different approaches when it comes to the messaging process on the dating apps, which I have no doubt will make for some fun discussion that we'll take a closer look at in some future episodes, because I'll definitely be having Laurie back. Okay, guys and gals, it's been fun, and I look forward to being with you on the next episode to take your dating experience from a bust to a best, and that's a really good place to be.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Midlife Dating Without the Crisis. Eager for more dating support? Visit 50dates@50.com for lots of free quality content. Get access to dating and relationship commentary, advice, Q&A, funny stories, movie and book reviews, along with other resources to help 50 daters sort out the pretenders and find quality dating and relationship-minded people. And remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode.